Hi, my beautiful sisters. Sorry for the shaky camera, but I wanted to share, especially with you, Emily, that your gorgeous tags, or how you call them, Christmas decorations. I call them decorations, so tree decorations, came in, and they already came in on the 24th, actually, and couldn't be more fitting, and was so happy to receive them. And now we have a holy trinity of your decorations here, and my camera don't want to focus again. Yeah, this one you already know, maybe when you have watched one of my Vlogmas videos. Yeah, so I wanted to make a video to talk to you a bit. Originally, I wanted to make an open video here on YouTube, so my best kind of most used tarot decks kind of stuff. But I was half, I guess I was already almost finished with the video, and I didn't felt anything and any intention to upload it, and it was some kind of crappy, and I felt crappy, and I thought, no, it's not the time to do that. Maybe I will wait until the new year, but I'm not sure if this could be of interest for for others. Still, at the moment, a little bit on doubts or something, unsure, uncertainties or something. I'm not sure. It's a bit strange today. I even have my problems doing my my 12 nights of silence, so my 12 nights of Yule or Rauhnächte. These contemplative nights still have my problems. I stopped journaling. I just draw cards and sit a little bit with them and read the text from the book that comes with the Weaver's Oracle. To give you a little bit, this is the card here at the moment. And I just have lit one candle here. If you can see anything, she's really gorgeous, and she has to do something with the labyrinth, actually, which was quite fitting because one of my labyrinth here is underneath. And there are some journal questions that I got with the incense calendar that I got from a German witch for the time of August, and this is making the base for something new, making the foundation for something new, planning ahead in something, and it's about wishes of the heart and what you want to do, and how to realize them, and how to draw in positivity in your life. I don't know what it is, but at the moment I feel these are maybe possibly important questions or something, but they feel like hollow to me to some degree, if that makes sense. I just feel nothing and just think every time the same question again. And you can write down the hell crap out of you. And if you don't do this and don't make it, then you can write what you want. You still don't achieve it. And at the moment, I feel like that. So sometimes I have these parts in my life, or this, I don't know how to call it differently. These areas in my life. No, I'm not sure what I want to say. So sometimes there are occasions where I simply don't see the meaning behind writing. So journaling, basically, I mean journaling. So sometimes I feel sometimes words can just stay without meaning when you don't act upon them. So you can write, oh, I want to do this, and I want to live more heart-centered, and I want to love myself more, and you can write just what you want, but if you don't do it, nothing will happen. And at the moment, I don't see don't see the necessity, or I don't feel it actually to write down anything. I just want to sit. Just want to sit and look at it, and and just say, so what that I'm not writing it down? It's okay. Sometimes you just have to sit and wait for something which has nothing to do with words. I hope this makes sense at all. I'm a little bit all over the place tonight. A little bit, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm short before my moonblood or something. Could be something like that. And this is where my emotions are normally quite... so the tides are high, you could say. So we really we really flow, like the ebb and flow. And I feel like high tide slowly approaching upon me, and maybe this is the case. It's quite good to be more aware of your own cycle and get to know why you sometimes act, how you act. Because there are really times when I'm really quite teary and are easily getting annoyed or upset with something, especially with politics, things we do to our Mother Earth and so on. And this is when I'm really getting really unbalanced. And sometimes I wonder what Henrik will think when I'm like that. And I know for years it was like this, she has her, we call it, when we have our moonblood, we call it, wir haben unsere Tage. She has her days. So, like an excuse, like, at one point she will function properly again. And sometimes I have the feeling she's thinking sometimes something like that. But maybe it's just projection of myself. So just projection. Sometimes I expect the worst in other people or of other people, and sometimes it's only what is in my head, so to speak. I know this is all over the place. Yeah, well, it's a bit... as you can see here, I'd share a bit of this, not so clean up space at the moment. This is my kind of pillow area where I snuggle in a bit and try to read and something like that. So it's not super fancy or something like pictures for Instagram, but this is the real truth sometimes behind the image, I would say, and you will all know that for yourself, I guess, because social media sometimes just sometimes just fancy pictures, and you don't know how it looks behind the scenes, and all you see is this. But it's a bit, I'm in a bit strange mood at the moment. I'm not sure what this is. Like I said, maybe it has to do with that. Maybe it has also to do with the quite exhausting Christmas festivities we had with the family. Ruth, you will already know that because you've read my call for help on Facebook on our second Christmas Day, because we are in Germany. Like Emily, you in France, we have, I guess you have that too, two Christmas days, so 24th and not 24th, 25th and 26th, and we have the Holy Eve, so more or less 2.5 days, and we had a quite relaxed, and I mean really relaxed and easy Holy Eve, Henrik and me, and we had our dinner. I cooked one of my family dishes, or one of the family dish my mother always made when I was a child, which was something like a roast, you could say. So we had flesh again, yes, but to me it was okay, and we still had it frozen in the freezer and wanted to use it, and it was organic beef, and I made a traditional dish that my mom did with with mushrooms and creamy dark sauce with a lot of Christmas spices in it and red wine and all that goodness. And we have dumplings. We still have something of that left. Dumplings and red cabbage, you would call that. We call it Rotkohl. And it was super delicious, and it was a peaceful evening, and we exchanged our presents, and we usually don't went over the, or we don't overdo it, so to speak, in terms of presents. So each of us had 2 presents for the other. So I gifted Henrik 2 books, one about wolves, which is quite interesting, and I might read it too. And the other one is about reading the signs of water, so you can navigate more easily. So how the old Vikings might have navigated, and something like that. How you navigate on the sea, how you navigate on a river, and so on. And this, he's quite fascinated by that at the moment. And the other, and the things that I got was an oracle deck, the Tao Oracle. And a book about plant goddesses. So a goddess for each of the month, and related to different plants for each of the season and each of the month by a German, healing practitioner and her herbal expert. I don't want to. Don't want to murder this kind of word with ist at the end. Herbologist, whatever. And this is really interesting, and yeah, I'm enjoying to read that, but for some reason I still feel I don't have enough time. So we have quite a free time the last days. But at the moment, I feel it's restricted. No, I have to correct. We didn't have so much free time because we had, like I said, and this is like what I said before, it's all over the place. This was where I wanted to come to is the family dinner we had with Henrik's family, my family-in-law, you could say, and. Normally we would have spent the Holy Eve with Henrik's nephew and niece, which is actually now, or who are actually now also my nephew and niece-in-law. Oh my gosh, I'm an aunt. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this was something we rejected because for 2 years we were spending the Holy Eve with the family, and this year I didn't want to do that, especially not with... there, because there's usually there is some kind of political discussion, you could say, and even the younger members, some of the younger members have political viewpoints that are hard to tolerate. But so this was something we skipped, and but the thing was, on the first Christmas day, we just by surprise, or not by surprise, we just were spontaneously invited by Henrik's sister, and we spent our evening there. Henrik discussed with his father the whole evening, and I mean the whole evening. While that, Henrik's sister and we watched Gone with the Wind, the whole movie, and the whole movie through. Henrik and his father sat in the kitchen and discussed several topics, like from philosophy till religion and till, I don't know, endless topics. And I was quite surprised that Henrik's dad was so silent. Normally he just brings up his point of view constantly, but he was quite silent and listened to Henrik. And we watched that, and it was okay. But after that, it went again. When we sat together after the movie, Henrik's dad got a little bit over the top again, and I only thought I want to go home. And then the next day was the official invitation, where Henrik's brother and his sister-in-law came with their 2 daughters. And it was quite okay. It was super loud, and I felt this season that I have my problems with harsh sounds and noises and so on. I had a trip to the city a couple of days ago, to the Christmas market, and this year I was not able to stand it. I was shortly before a panic attack, I have to confess, and 2 years ago or last year, it was not so much a problem. I was quite relaxed and so on. This year, not. I can't stand it at all. I'm searching and craving for silence. But this was not the case with Henrik's family. It is always a merry, loud, group of people, you could say. Really, nothing to say against that. But at one point, the topic of religion came up. And Henrik's brother and his sister-in-law are both Seventh-day Adventists, if you know what that is. I don't want to go into detail. You can Google it, I guess. Basically, they see the Saturday as holy and not the Sunday. And Seventh-day Adventists don't work usually on Sunday. Not on Sunday, on Saturdays. So it's sometimes not so easy to find jobs where you can do that. Well, and Henrik's whole family was a part of that tradition. Henrik's mother and father, and at a certain point, Henrik's father became, a disbeliever, you could say. So he wasn't able to believe in the Bible anymore. Some things were, some of the parts of the Bible didn't make sense to him anymore, and he wasn't there anymore. Henrik's ma was still a part of it. And Henrik's brother and sister-in-law are still also part of it, except for his sister, for Heidi. She isn't part of it anymore. But still, quite often there are Bible topics in there. So this evening it came up, and it came up from one of the daughters of Henrik's brother. And it was one of there are two daughters. One is not interested in that at all, and the other one is quite heavily into the Bible. And and she brought up something, and then they got they searched for the Bible in the living room, and there are still some Bibles left. And I got the impression every Bible they pulled out was bigger than the other, and what really annoyed me at that evening was when the topic of homosexuality came up, and I tried hardest, and sorry, I hope you don't mind if I say the harsh word. I tried hard as fuck to ignore it, and to tolerate the fuck out of it. But at one point, I simply wasn't able to restrain myself and to hold back myself anymore. Because sometimes, in hindsight, I should have just left the room, go upstairs and read a book. But at that point, I was just bursting out and said, "Can you just stop that nonsense, please? You're insulting people here, of which I know quite some, and that are my friends, and I can't tolerate this here anymore." And where one part of the still religious part of the family came to the conclusion that homosexuality isn't natural, and from the Bible point of view has to be punished. Not that they would do it, but they just came up with this not natural thing. Henrik's dad came up with, I think it's natural. It's something they have from the beginning when they were born, and it's like in nature, like a crippled tree. And I said, "What? You just compare homosexual people to crippled trees? What the fuck?" And he just wasn't able to grasp what I was up to and what I meant. He just didn't got it. So I was even more, and this is always the case, he has, and this is hard to say about father-in-law, but he has quite low sensitivity, empathy, and sometimes still just don't grasp why other people are getting annoyed what he is saying. So, and I was really annoyed, and I was really loud, and I was saying, can you just stop, all of you, now talking about this? This leads to nowhere. Okay, so the topic of homosexuality was off the table, but then they just continued about everything what is in the Bible, and then we have pros and cons. So we had Henrik's dad, who was con, and Henrik's brother, who was pro, and they discussed the shit out of each other. And I was really some kind of silly girl that I should have just left the room and go upstairs. But I really, at that point, I felt so alone with my belief that it was hard. I felt constantly triggered. I was simply not able to listen to this whole monotheistic stuff and all this Almighty Father in heaven, and it's always this male God point of view. And I would love to have screamed out, "I'm a witch, you deal with that." But I still can't, because as for Henrik's brother and sister-in-law, I'm in the closet, so in the broom closet, so to speak. They don't know it. It will be interesting at one point when we will, at one point in the future, will live in that house when Henrik's dad is, will pass at some point. And we will live there. How I said to Henrik, I don't want to hide that much. I don't want necessarily to hang up pentagrams in the living room or something, but I will certainly not hide my belief in the cellar. And but at the moment, for the sake of peace, and because I know they have they have difficulties to understand what that there could be other point of views. So when the evening, at some point I brought up a book with old vintage Christmas traditions. So where did Christmas come from? Where did the customs came from, and so on. And I thought, okay, when they start to talk and talk about some topics that are hard to find a consensus, I will bring up that book and I will read it out. I will read out of it. And I read about about Santa Claus, where we call him Weihnachtsmann, where he was coming from, and so on and so forth. And even then, we had Henrik's brother, who always said, "What a bullshit," and never heard of something like that before, and something like that. And he is always a bit of a critic, quite harsh. And sometimes I think he is coming more after Henrik's dad than Henrik, luckily. He is sometimes also very reasonable. So sometimes the whole evening it was like, I get his viewpoint, and there were times when I said, "Fuck you." Not openly, of course, but sometimes it was like both. So the ambiguous way of what people say, sometimes they are like this. So no one is like just one thing. You have certainly they have certain viewpoints that you can agree with and certain you can't agree with. And I simply can't agree with viewpoints that are discriminating and making others less than oneself. And this is something I simply cannot stand, and I cannot tolerate. You can tolerate a lot of things, and I really delved into that word tolerate a bit more recently. What that actually means, that you say, okay, I leave someone like he is, with his opinion, but I'm not necessarily agree with it and maybe don't like it at all. But I tolerate it, that everyone can have his opinion. And that evening I really was tolerating like crazy. And at one point it was simply not possible anymore. And it got worse and worse and worse and so on. And then at one point we started to making ourselves ready to go home, to drive home. And I sat a little bit with Henrik's sister and with sister-in-law, so with both sisters-in-law. And she was the one who is part of the Adventist. She was a bit explaining about her belief, that she believes in Jesus and how she believes in God and so on. And this was quite okay to me. So it was very down to earth, very practical, an everyday approach. And I really liked that. But I would have liked to get more into conversation about that. So kind of interreligious kind of conversation. But at that point I was filled up. I was stuffed with monotheism and couldn't swallow any more bits of that, and just had to stop listening and drive home. And I was really, oh my gosh, I was so agitated. And when we came home, I had said to Henrik, I just have to walk outside. I just have to take a walk. I explode. I really explode here. And we took a walk, and we talked, and it was quite helpful. And afterwards, I felt very much better, at least. But it was, it really makes me dread Christmas parties with the family, or parties with the family at all. It really makes me dread it. So I'm not sure if maybe I will reject it next year. Not necessarily that I will say that Henrik has to do that too, but maybe I will spend at least one Christmas Eve alone when I'm not sure I have the right ways of dealing with it. So that I really start to remind myself that I can retreat when I want. For some reason I felt stuck there, although I could have just stand up and go. It was crazy. And I have to say, as long as politics and religion isn't a topic there, it's really a harmonious being together. So it's really relaxed and at ease, and it's really delightful. But as soon as these topics coming up about politics, about refugees, about the political parties that are getting more and more influence here and their viewpoints on minorities, I simply cannot tolerate this crap anymore. This, to my taste, sometimes quite racistic crap. And or racist crap, or how you want to, racistic, I guess it's called. I can't tolerate that anymore. And maybe I should declare it really openly, that I can't tolerate any kind of saying that diminishes the meaning of another being, or that makes another being smaller than oneself, out of color, out of sexuality, out of politics, or something like that. Everything that makes the other one lesser, I can't deal with it anymore, and I don't want to hear their opinion anymore. They can talk when they have their people there, or there are some people that will agree to that, but not with me anymore, and I don't want to hear that anymore. Maybe I should declare that more openly. although it might be hard to do that, but I guess for the sake of future peace, maybe it is necessary. Well, yeah, I guess I will leave it at that. I just wanted, I hope I don't bother you with that all over the place video here, but I wanted to talk to some friends about that. And really, that evening I felt so alone, and it was so sad that we all live so apart from each other, and that we couldn't I don't know, maybe make our own celebrations, like Yule celebrations of our own making, and do it like we wanted, and yeah, talking openly and about the topics that moves us, and yeah, this is something I've missed, and that's what something I also talked about with Henrik, that I'm feeling sometimes alone with my belief. That doesn't mean that I'm searching for a big community or something. Sometimes I wish there would something be like the Unitarian Universalists, what Annie is telling always. Sometimes I wish something like that would exist here. I guess it's they exist in Berlin, but not in Hanover. So it's a bit sad that way. Yeah, maybe this would be something that I would like to join. So where different paths come together and find a base or a foundation where they can celebrate from. I would like that, because what Annie is telling there about their meetings there sounds really wonderful, and the things that she wrote for her church service was also a pleasure to read. And yeah, something like that. Something like that is missing for me here, and I feel a bit alone with that. And especially when you have an evening full of active Adventists and non-active Adventists discussing the Bible and certain topics. I feel like really I'm a minority, and this made me sad to some degree, and at one point really made me also angry. Made me also not, maybe also someone that is not able to tolerate other religions, you could say, but I try my best with Christianity or with the Adventists, so to speak, the best that I can, and I will see how this will go in the future years, especially when we will live in Henrik's parents' home, and if and how this will work out, I don't know, but we will see that. Yeah, so I hope you've spent peaceful Christmas days, or one Christmas day, and peaceful days at least. And Emily, I've seen your this kind of holy pagan family you've created, and I was so moved by that. I really like that. Also, this delicate paper cutting you did for them, the spiral. This was so amazing and so beautiful. And sometimes I really wished you all would live closer and we could create a whole new tradition or something, and make some beauty out of it. And so this is really something with meaning, I guess, really something with meaning, because I get the impression that when I would say what my beliefs are, sometimes I can't even tell it to myself what my beliefs are. This is very a fluent thing, to be honest. But the way that sometimes Adventists think isn't necessarily inclusive. I don't know if that's the right word, but they would doubt everything because it's not written down, not written in stone. Yeah, and I think, if I remember correctly, the Seventh-day Adventists believe that the world is only 6,000 years old, so as old as the Bible. And what's in the Bible happened, actually, like it is written down, or it has been written down, and they don't believe anything that has to do with archaeology that is longer or past 6,000 years ago. And oh my gosh, and this is something that also is a big trigger of mine. A big trigger of mine. I can't deal with that, to be honest. But yeah, they should do it. And I'm really curious how this will be, if this will, how it will go when they at one point will know that I'm a pagan. I'm not sure if I will call myself a witch in front of them. That's simply something I really have to consider wisely. But maybe that I'm a pagan, or that I'm an earth lover, that I'm following an earth-based spirituality, and so on. I'm curious if they start to look at me with the strange eyes or something, or that they throw looks at me or something. But maybe I will try to remind them that I've always been respectful with their religion when I was in their home, that I've never said anything bad, that I've prayed with them before dinner and something like that, only saying my own words, something like that in my mind. But I've been respectful, never said something like, this is bullshit or something. So maybe we'll see how this will end up in the future. So anyway, I guess I will stop it now. I wish you, a blessed new year. And how we call it in German, einen guten Rutsch, which means simply something like a good transition into the new year. And we will read from each other, I guess, and or see us in a video or something, or hear us like this. In this case, we will hear us. So I wish you all the best. Bye bye, sisters.